Hey guys, so long story short, recently I started a master's degree, and what that essentially means is that I am in a class with a bunch of people that I don't know. Like, there was only one person that I knew beforehand, and we were classmates and we would get along and stuff like that, but the rest of the people I didn't know. And there was people that already knew each other because, they were either in the same class or, they were friends beforehand, whatever. And I wasn't really friends with anyone technically. I mean, there was one person that I knew and stuff, but other than that, I just didn't know many people. But honestly, I I don't know. I was like, I think I'm an ambivert. Like, I don't think I'm an introvert. Like, I'm not like wanting to be alone all the time, but I'm not an extrovert. Like, I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, I also recharge my energy like being alone and being by myself. But I also like human company, and I also like meeting new people and talking to new people. And you know what I mean? And I was talking to the new people, you know what I mean? Like, I was trying to talk to everybody, try to get in the conversation, you know what I mean? Like, during like little breaks and stuff that we take, like, I'm with everybody else, and you know what I mean, we're talking, we're having casual conversations, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I thought I was integrating sort of normally, if that makes sense. And then one of the girls in that master's degree, she doesn't seem to, let's say, I don't think she was like friends with anybody else. Like, people were her classmates beforehand, but I don't think she was really friends with anybody beforehand. And one day she asked me, "Don't you feel a little bit alone in this master's degree?" And I was like, "What?" I mean, I think that coming from her, maybe she was kind of projecting, because I was like, I think she's the one that probably feels a little bit alone because she's not really friends with anybody. I don't know if she had another group of friends, or maybe she just never really got along with these people. Like, I don't know what happened. But I thought about it, and I was like, I hadn't really thought about that. I mean, is the master's degree hard? It seems to be hard because it's accounting, and I have a bachelor's in business admin, and it's a little bit hard, and it's definitely easier for people who studied a bachelor's in accounting. So that was my biggest concern, and also the fact that I feel like this might not be my path. Like, I might not, like, I don't want to be an accountant for the rest of my life, and I'm doing this master's degree because I feel like I have to, like, deep down, and those were the things that I was worried about. I was worried whether I was making a good decision. I was worrying whether I should be doing something else. I was worried whether I was wasting my time. I was worried whether this master's degree was going to be really hard and it was going to take me longer than a year to get it, whatever. Like, those were my biggest concerns, not the fact that I'm quote unquote alone. And I think that she was projecting, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying that I think that maybe that was a big concern for her. You know what I mean? Like, I honestly, like, I'm the type of person who, I mean, everybody's social and everybody wants to make friends and everybody wants to get along with people, and nobody wants to be like alone during recess or in the hallways or whatever. Like, everybody wants to have somebody, even if you're not like friends with anybody, but like people that you like see regularly, and like, you know what I mean, you get together when you see each other, whatever, like in class. But I wasn't really concerned about that. Like, obviously I didn't want to be alone, you know what I mean? Like, I was talking to people, there's two or three people that are kind of like just doing their own thing, and they're not really talking to anybody. It's just hello and goodbye, and that's it, you know what I mean? They're not really talking to any of us. I don't know if it's because they don't want to, or because they're shy, or whatever, because they're socially insecure. I don't know what's going on. Or maybe they think that we are all already friends, and they kind of feel not like included, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I don't know. I'm not the best at socializing. You know what I mean? I'm not the best. You know what I mean? Like, I can be shy at first. Like, depending on the person's vibe, I can be a little bit shyer. I can be a little bit more serious, whatever. I can be more quiet, or I can be more talkative, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it depends on the person. If somebody's shyer than me, maybe I can be a little bit more bubbly, or I can feel a little bit more comfortable because I knew that I was like that when I was a kid. Um, but if the other person's like really bubbly, I can be like, you know what I mean? Like, they kind of spread, you know what I mean? Like, they kind of like, they're giving me this energy, you know what I mean? Like, because they're bubbling a lot and stuff like that, like, it makes me want to be bubbly as well, and we can be like quirky, funny together, you know what I mean? So I think it's about energy, you know what I mean? And if somebody's like somewhat serious, you know what I mean? They're not too serious, they're not too whatever, maybe I can sort of be like that, you know what I mean? Like, it's contagious, you know what I mean? Like, they give you this energy, or you give this energy to people, and it's sort of like, you know what I mean? You kind of adopt this like synergy, whatever. So it's not the same with everybody. But what I'm saying is that that was not my biggest concern. You know what I mean? Like, I think that at the end of the day, like, I mean, it's just 1 year. Even if I didn't make friends with anybody, like, if I'm not friends with anybody, like, I don't care. And I'm not saying that I don't care about these people, but I'm just saying that, like, it was not my biggest concern. I was like, I mean, if I get along with people, it's fine. If I don't, well, it just didn't happen. Whatever. It's just a year. You know what I mean? And being alone is not even that bad. You know what I mean? Like, I think being alone is better than being with bad company. Like, imagine all these people were shit. Like, I prefer to be alone. You know what I mean? Like, if all these people were toxic, you know what I mean? Like, there's gossip every once in a while, and you end up getting to know people. You're like, this person is nicer than this other person. This person is more genuine than this other person. This person's a liar. This person, they think they're so cool. This person, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you start getting to know people, but you know what I mean? Like, it's just like the human experience. You know what I mean? Like, you get to know people, you discover them, like how they are, how they behave, or whatever. And you know what I mean? Like, sometimes you become friends with them, sometimes you don't, stuff like that. But I didn't feel alone. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't feel alone. I mean, and I told her, well, I already know this girl. She was in my class last year. And then everybody else has been nice to me. And it is true that everybody has been nice and everybody has been inclusive. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has been talking to me. You know, when I was in high school, I did primary school, middle school, whatever in the same school, and then I changed schools when I went to high school. And it was me and a bunch of other people that were new in that high school, and everybody else just was already, everybody else was from there, and everybody, had their group of friends and everything, and they were not that inclusive because they already had each other. You know what I mean? They already had their groups of friends like pretty settled, and so that's why they were not so inclusive with us. But also, I'm not trying to victimize myself. Like, I also take part of the blame because I was depressed, and because I was depressed and that was not a place that I wanted to be in. I did not put effort into making friends. You know what I mean? Like, there's this group of people that I hung out with, but like, I didn't put it too much effort, like, to talk and stuff like that. Like, I would talk and whatever, but not too much, and I was kind of serious. You know what I mean? Like, I was depressed. I didn't have a lot of energy. You know what I mean? Let alone social energy, especially because I'm an ambivert. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just didn't put too much effort. And this time I'm not like depressed or anything. I'm trying to put effort, and I think I don't know. I think people in college can be a little bit more open, especially at first, because like nobody knows anyone for the most part. And so like friendships can happen relatively more easily, whatever, because everybody's looking to making friends and whatever. We're looking into making friends, whatever. And then in the master's degree, I thought it was gonna be a little bit harder because I was like, well, everybody seems to know each other. Maybe they're not gonna care about like the rest of us who are new. Like, I don't know, but they were really nice. They were really nice. And also, I was gonna say, in college at first, at least in my experience, people were like open to meeting people at first. But then like once like groups of friends were sort of like settled, whatever, not sort of settled, but just like formed, people were not that willing to hang out with other people. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, at least in my class, everybody had like their group of friends, and it was hard. I think it took us like 3 years to start like hanging out with each other, and then people started talking shit behind people's backs, and then they started talking shit about each other, whatever, doing shit to each other, getting in arguments. So, you know, the relationships in general in my class were ass. And I don't know about other classes. Like, I've been in other classes, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like it seems like it was like that as well. Like, everybody had their group of friends and they just didn't really hang out with each other. Like, maybe in like parties or whatever, they would kind of talk to each other or whatever. But it was not that. You know what I mean? Like, people tend to like go to their group of friends, and at least where I live, people are just like, nah, I already have my group of friends. Like, I don't want to meet anybody else. Like, I'm not interested in meeting new people. And even my group of friends, I'm sorry, maybe I'm talking shit, but they were like, no, we're not willing to talk to other people. And then the last year they were like, okay, now we're willing to meet new people. And then the moment they had the opportunity to meet new people, they were kind of reluctant to do it. So, I mean, like, people are, like, people are complicated. But anyway, the thing is, I don't think your biggest concern, like, if you feel alone in a social setting, I don't think your biggest concern should be being alone. You know what I mean? Like, I think your biggest concern should be like, okay, am I passing all my subjects? Am I understanding things? Like, I don't want to be nerdy, but I think that's what matters at the end of the day, because you're in school. You know what I mean? Like, I've heard people say this, and then their actual main focus is making friends, whatever. But what I'm saying is that, like, school is, especially when you're in college, is like, listen, if I'm gonna, like, obviously try to make friends. I'm not saying you should be alone, but the thing is, like, try to make friends or whatever. If people are not accepting, if people don't want to hang out with you, if people don't want to whatever, like, don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Like, as long as you do well in school, you're already doing better than everybody else. And even if they have friends or whatever, like, maybe they're not passing all their subjects. Who cares? You know what I mean? Like, you are doing well, at least in that regard. You know what I mean? Like, I made friends who ended up deceiving me, whatever, and then, you know, things ended up happening, and I was like, well, I have this group of friends, but they're kind of deceiving me, you know what I mean? So I was like, I was in this state where I was like I felt tension, because I was like, I kind of want to start responding and start talking back and start like standing up for myself, but then I don't want them to get mad, because then they're gonna like get mad or whatever. And I didn't mind like being alone, but then I was like, maybe they're gonna start like being mean to me and they're gonna start bullying me. That's what I was kind of scared of. So I was like, you know what, no, this is, I know this is really toxic, you know what I mean? But the thing is, like, once college ended, like, once my bachelor's ended, I was like, okay, I'm gonna drop these people. I don't care if I'm alone. I don't care if I lost part of my friends. I don't care if, you know what I mean, if I don't really make friends in this master's degree. I mean, I hope that I do, but if I don't, it's fine. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's fine. Because, like, not having friends doesn't mean you're less cool, you're any less worthy, you're any less whatever. You know what I mean? You just didn't happen to, you know, meet people that were interested in hanging out with you, or people that had stuff in common with you. Like, it doesn't mean anything at all. I think that friends are overrated more than underrated, because of course, like, you can choose your friends and you can't choose your family, you know what I mean? Like, for instance, like, there are people who have better friends than family members. In my case, I mean, I have shitty family members, and I have also really good, and I also have really good family members. I am blessed enough to have good family members, so that I don't have to like rely on friendships or depend on friendships to have this sort of like love in my life, to receive this love in my life, you know? Um, but if I had a shitty family, then I would definitely worry about like friends, you know, because I'm like, okay, I don't get support, I don't get love, I don't get appreciation in my family, so I need friends, I need people who really genuinely like me for who I am, and who are genuinely willing to support me, you know what I mean? So everybody's story is different, but at least for me, I'm like, well, I got my family members, and I'm not, of course, I want to have good friends. Everybody wants to have good friends, but the thing is, if I'm not finding these good friends, they will, you know what I mean? Like, I would make good friends later, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not that depending on it. And if they don't come later, it's fine, because I have this sense of self worth. You know what I mean? I have developed this sense of self worth. Like, just because I don't have friends, I'm not saying I don't have friends. I do have friends, but you know what I mean? Like, if you lose your friends, or if you didn't make friends in a certain stage in your life, or chapter in your life, it doesn't matter. As long as you know what you want from that chapter in your life, as long as you know what you want to do and you focus on that and you're doing well and you have this sense of self worth, who cares if you don't have friends? You know what I mean? Who cares? I think it's underrated. Who cares? Like, being alone is not the same as being lonely. You know what I mean? Like, being alone is just spending time alone, doing things alone, enjoying your own company. You know what I mean? Like, focusing on yourself. And being lonely is feeling bad about being alone. Like, feeling lonely is feeling, yeah, it's feeling alone and feeling bad about it. It's not enjoying this being alone, like solitude. I think alone matches with solitude, and then loneliness with lonely, right? So they don't enjoy that solitude. They are scared of this solitude. I've met people who said that every time they're alone or whatever, they play music because they don't want to hear the voices in their head. Like, they don't have self-confidence because their head is always like bullying them. You know what I mean? My head is not constantly bullying me. Maybe sometimes I have anxiety thoughts, and sometimes I'm like, why did I do that? Why did I say that? Maybe I'm not enough. Maybe people don't like me because of this and that. Maybe I'm single because of this, because of that. Like, we definitely all get those thoughts, but as long as you don't get it, as long as you don't let it not get to your head, but as long as you don't let it ruin your life, and you don't let it, you know what I mean? Like, it's just anxiety talking. It's not really you thinking that. You know what I mean? You're always going to have this anxiety that is like telling you, like, oh, what are people going to think? People are going to say this, people are going to say that, you know what I mean? People are going to judge you, people are going to think you're stupid, people are going to think you're ugly, people are going to think you're unattractive, people are going to think you're whatever. You know what I mean? You're always going to have that anxiety, and whether you have this sense of self-worth or not. So, but the important thing is that if you spend time alone, you have to really enjoy it. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you have yourself. You know what I mean? And if you have friends, of course, like, cherish them and be grateful to have them, whatever, and spend time with them. You know what I mean? You don't want to lose them because you stopped hanging out or whatever. Like there's people who I stopped hanging out with for whatever reasons. Like I went to college, they started doing their thing as well, whatever, and we're not hanging out anymore. And it's kind of like that friendship is kind of lost because I'm like, I don't know, should I text them? Should I not? Should I talk to them? Like sometimes that's sad, but like, you know, like if you try to keep this friendship and you try to keep, you know what I mean? Like that was a mistake I made in the past. Like if you don't keep talking to them or whatever, the relationship is gonna kind of like get colder and it's gonna kind of like, you know what I mean? Like you're gonna slowly become just acquainted, you know, and it's kind of sad. So anyway, moral of the story is, because I'm just rambling, it's okay to be friends with, no, it's okay to have friends, but it's okay not to have friends. Friends can be overrated. Like you can be okay without friends, it's fine. Obviously, having friends, there's nothing, you know what I mean? Like it can be beneficial because at the end of the day, we help each other, but you know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't have friends because you need someone, if that makes sense. Because you need to, I don't know, because you might need help one day. You know what I mean? Like, even though that's a good strategy, you know? But the thing is, do not try to have shitty friends. Like, do not, how do you say this? Do not hold on to friendships that are kind of shallow or just bad or whatever just for convenience, because that's just kind of ass. And if you have genuine good friends, keep them. Keep them. And if you are not making friends in this stage of your life, or you feel like you don't really have any like actual friends or whatever, it's fine. Just think about what you want to do in life and focus on that and enjoy your time alone. Really genuinely enjoy it. And whenever you're talking shit about yourself in your head, just realize that it's anxiety and work on that. So, yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.